Welcome back to another Java short tutorial, and in this tutorial I'll be showing how you can make decisions in Java using if-else statements. So let's dive right into it and create a new class. So in this case example 04, again generating the main method. So say if I want to print a message when a variable has a certain value. For example, I have an integer age, which I am going to declare on a value 45, and I hope if you see the example later on that nobody's going to feel offended by that. And say if I want to display the message you are old if the age is higher than, for example, 40. So how do we do that? Well, first I have to create a if statement. And after the word if, I put two brackets, and in between those brackets I provide the choice criteria. So in this case I want a certain message to be printed if age is larger than 40. So I put my criteria there, and then in between accolades I'm going to put the code. So after my if statement I put an accolade open and an accolade close, and in between those two accolades I'm going to write the code that I would like to execute if the value of age is bigger than 40. So I'm going to say system.out.println you are old. There we go. So typically in this case age is 45, so it is larger than 40, so this message will print. But before I will go and run the program, I will add one more system.out.println line at the bottom. Which shows the word done. Just to prove that what the program will do is it will check this criteria. If the criteria passes, so in this case age is bigger than 40, this will print, and after this printing is done the rest of the program will continue and print the message done. Okay, so let's run. And indeed it shows you are old. Done. Okay. So say if I change the value of 40 of age to, for example, 30, which is smaller than 40, thus this criteria will not pass. It will not say you are old and only say done. So let's find out. And indeed the value done is showing. Why? Because this criteria failed, therefore this was never printed, and thus only this was printed, the done message in the system.out.println. So this is typically how you can decide whether or not some lines of code, in this case the system.out.println, should be executed. But in some cases you would like one thing or the other to happen. So if age is not bigger than 40, I would like to print the message you are young. So how do I do that? Well, I could of course do another if statement. If age is smaller than 40 and so on and so forth. But it's a little bit inefficient because I want either my program to say you are old or you are young. So how can we do that? Well, we can add what we call a else statement below the if. So we just type the word else, and then again accolade open, accolade close, and in between there we will write the code that we would like to execute if age is not bigger than 40. So if this criteria fails, what will then happen? So if you're with the if-else statement, if the if criteria fails, automatically the else criteria will execute. So else in this case would be system.out.println you are young. There we go. So now let's run. It says you are young followed by done. Why? Because the if statement fails. Therefore the else statement will take over or will execute. So that's basically your basic if-else statement. One other variation could be, say if I want to add two criteria. So say for example, I want this line to execute if age is higher than 40, or, and these two bars mean or, age is smaller than 5, for example. So in that case I could say you are old or a baby. So let's now change age to 4 and run again. So now it shows you are old or a baby. If I change back to, for example, 50, it will still say you are old or a baby. But if I choose any number between 5 and 40, it will still say you are young. So there you have your basic if-else statement. And next time I will talk about the else-if statement on top of this. See you next time.